The shift solenoid is an on and off electrical valve that lets fluid pass to actuate the actual gear shift. It is composed of the solenoid puntal, spring, and electric coil winding. If the coil winding shorts out and burns the wires, it is said to be an open circuit fault. OBD2 transmission code definitions for the shift solenoid come in various flavors. These are solenoid performance, stuck on or off, electrical, and intermittent. It is important to know that if you have a solenoid performance or a solenoid stuck on or off code, you do not have an electrical fault. You then must look at possible mechanical problems. But if your code definition is for an electrical or intermittent fault, you do have an open or short-circuited shift solenoid or circuit. All shift solenoids are mounted at the transmission valve body. A maximum of 4 shift solenoids may be used. Most transmissions employ 2 or 3 solenoids only. 80% of the time, these are on or off units. All domestic transmissions use ground-controlled solenoids, and all Asian transmissions use power-controlled solenoids. On domestics, a relay or the ignition switch supplies power to all solenoids. Then, the ACM, ground pulse, is the other side of the solenoid. On Asians, one side of the solenoid is tied to ground at the body of the transmission, or using a separate wire connected to chassis ground. The other side is independently power pulsed by the ECM or TCM. On fewer transmissions yet, the ACM controls the solenoid and therefore the shifting through duty cycle control units. With this system, both solenoid wires are connected to the ACM or TCM, which then employs a variable pulse width at a steady frequency to control the solenoid. The Dodge Chrysler family of vehicles uses duty cycle controlled solenoids. Do not ever apply steady power to a Dodge or duty cycle solenoid to test it, or it'll be destroyed. To test the circuit on a ground-controlled system, turn the ignition switch on, then using a test light connected to ground, probe for 12 volts at the main transmission power feed wire, which feeds all solenoids. If no power, backtrace to the fuse box, relay, or ignition switch. If OK, and you are prompted with a shift solenoid electrical code, then using the same test light, also connected to ground, probe at the solenoid activation wire, and make sure you have 12 volts present. If not, then the solenoid is faulty. Use the transducer pod if necessary to detect this problem. To test the ECM or TCM, connect the test light to power, raise one tire off the ground, have someone else set the vehicle to drive, and probe for a ground steady on, right at the solenoid activation wire. If testing on a power-controlled transmission, simply reverse the test light connection. Most on and off shift solenoids will draw about 0.9 to 1.2 amps of current. Shift solenoid codes are very common. Do not replace or rebuild the transmission if you have an electrical or intermittent transmission code. Simply concentrate on the electrical side. A shift solenoid high code means that the circuit ground is missing. A shift solenoid low code means the circuit power feed is missing.